Hi, everyone. My name is Sava Shahid, and I'm the Chief Smiling Officer of Creative Neurology. Today, we have Tom here. Hi, Tom.
Hello,
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very good. And Tom, can you tell everyone where you're from?
Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area.
Awesome. And you recently participated in our Let's Combat Micrographia course.
Correct.
Very good. And can you tell everyone a little bit about what you were doing before joining the course with improving your handwriting? Were you doing anything?
Uh, I wasn't doing anything formally, but over the number of years, my handwriting is just worse and worse and worse. And I went to the point where I couldn't even read my own writing in cursive, so I printed everything. And
Okay.
even sometimes I printed, I had trouble remember what I was talking about.
Oh,
So
wow. And so before learning of our course, did you ever talk to your movement disorder specialist about micrographia, or did you know what micrographia was?
didn't even know what it was.
Oh, wow, look at that. So that's very interesting because many people with Parkinson's actually learn about micrographia later on in their progression. So it's
Hmm.
like you were in that category as well, where you had it, but you didn't know about it.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even know what the word micrographia. I didn't had no knowledge whatsoever,
So you came
and
into
so
our course with a clean slate.
I did. I had no foregone conclusions or in my head.
Very good. And can you tell everyone a little bit about how the course has helped you since completing it?
Sure. Uh, Before starting the course, as I said, my penmanship was horrible, and people wouldn't have. My wife wouldn't let me sign a Christmas card because it was so bad. But uh, I learned very quickly on your course, Saba, and what I learned, I tried to write real fast. I always did it. Even in college, I wrote real fast and everything else. And what I learned early on in your subject was to slow down.
Mhm.
And in doing that, I stopped. It stopped me from rushing, and I took my time. Uh, my handwriting's improved drastically. Wouldn't you say, Patricia?
Absolutely.
As
Absolutely.
my wife's. Yeah, but yeah, I was. It only took me a couple weeks
Mhm.
to figure out what I, what you were lecturing on, what I was doing wrong, and so once I do that, uh, and I, and every once in a while I'll still speed up, and I just slow myself down and write larger because I'd start out with this size, and I'd go down the hill.
Yep,
By the
exactly.
time I got to the end, it was just like tiny size.
Very good. I mean, you touched upon some really important points here. Just the ability to slow down and really take a look at what we're doing makes such a huge improvement. And
It it taught me that there's no when I'm writing something, I'm not in a speed contest.
exactly. Even when we talked about writing a check, right? Many of us, when we write a check, we rush through that. It's like the last thing we put on our list to do. But if we just sit down, give ourselves 5 to 10 minutes to work through it, it comes out that much better.
I agree. I agree.
You had mentioned that it only took you a few weeks to get the methodology down that we were teaching, and I think I remember, looking back at your work, that I was able to see improvements in your handwriting in as little as, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes, it was. I took about 2 weeks before it finally got into my thick head what the problem was and what I needed to do. And
Mhm.
once I grasped that and I followed the directions.
I wanted to tell you that a couple of weeks ago, Tom had his appointment with his a neurologist. And every time he goes to his neurologist, he has him write his name, and then he does a circle thing, and then he has him draw another thing on paper, and he compares it to how it looked like 6 months before. And it was such a noticeable improvement in how his handwriting had improved.
That's amazing.
From the 6 months before. So we actually gave an opportunity to plug your class by saying, the drastic improvements. And he says, well, I can see that right here when I see what your handwriting looked like 6 months before, and here it is now. He showed it because he had it on his screen saved.
That's amazing. Look at that.
It was amazing. So,
and how did that feel when you guys heard him tell you that?
I thought, well, it's working. It's working. So I was happy with it. And
well, and I also think in Tom's case, it's an awareness. I think that the deterioration of his handwriting had been sort of like he hadn't really noticed it till we became aware of your class and the fact that it didn't have to be that way. And it's just a matter of realizing what you're doing and how, and sometimes it is merely taking your time. Plus the writing, using that kind of a writing.
The little rubber thing, that worked.
Did you like the writing aid?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, and using a writing aid like that makes him aware that he does need to slow down, because that pen looks different than any other pen, so that triggers something, that means slow down. So
right. That's amazing. I mean, there's so many different things that both of you just mentioned, just about being more aware of yourselves, right? And how you can work with various different, whether you want to call them symptoms, whether you want to call it, just the way you were previously doing things. And you can take that concept, right, of being self-aware and apply to so many different areas of your life as well, right? Like you could take this positive energy that you've gained from, slowing down in this course and apply that towards, let's say, when you're exercising, right? Instead of rushing through an exercise, really concentrate on every single move that you're going through.
Right.
So did either one of you have that moment where you were looking at Tom's handwriting and you were like, wow, it's changed? That exchange?
Well, I was the one about that. I actually, I was, because I would take the pictures on my iPhone and I would look at this and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, because I've known Tom and I've known his handwriting, and it's, like I said, I took over writing the checks, and I saw how it had improved just by taking, I thought, wow, he's really, they're absolutely an improvement. Yes. And then some of the little stories that he wrote, like little journals, which was so cute. It was so cute because I didn't know what he was writing. And then, I was reading it as I was taking a picture. A lot of it was about me, which
it was so
That's right. See, she's right in the.
Tom did that secretly, right? Because he knew you'd be looking at the pic, you'd be taking.
Yeah, so he had to write something nice, right?
Just a couple minutes left here. Is there anything, Tom, that you would like to add, or you'd like to tell anyone else who might have micrographia that might need a little extra push?
I would think anybody, no matter what their age is, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, whatever, look at their writing and recognize that it's not good, and you got to do something. I go back with micrographia. It teaches me, number one, to slow down and to pay attention to what I'm doing. And like I'm the treasurer for the local Knights of Columbus. And when I was writing checks a couple of years ago, I really had trouble trying to figure out what I was writing about and what the amount was for, who was for, what it was for. And so slowing down, it's a big neat. And the grand knight looked at a checkbook one day. He said, well, I can read that, Tom.
Well, not to mention that it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So you could write something, that maybe.
Have you written a check since after completing the course?
Oh, yeah.
A big difference?
Yeah. Oh, big difference.
That's amazing.
Big difference, yeah. I think I have
you must get a lot of satisfaction out of what you do, Slava.
It's so my mother-in-law actually passed away before I met her.
Mm.
So it's very special to me every time, I work with someone with Parkinson's, because I feel I need a piece of her. So
She died from
we do.
Parkinson's.
It's extremely, comes from the root of our hearts, both myself and my husband.
Yes.
It's really a big family. To know that, every person that, I've ever worked with, that my husband's ever worked with, you're our family. And I know that the course has ended, but that doesn't, end our relationship. So
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
How many times have you offered this, Saba? How many times?
We've been doing this since 2014. So,
oh my goodness.
and yeah, we're the only organization in the world that has research-based programming around micrographia. Our programs are supported by the National Institute of Health. It's the specific program. Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate you too, Pat, both of you guys doing this.